So I saw an interview with him or read that his first choice is the Chicago Bears. He would
Ooh,
have
that would
Caleb.
be.
He likes Caleb. They've got a set of receivers. I mean, we haven't seen it all put together yet, but Dunze's been having a nice year. DJ Moore still is DJ Moore, and Keenan. They don't need old Keenan. They just need Keenan there to mature Dunze and do what when guys are on the tail end of their career. But he said this past season that was the job that he wanted, and it might be up for grabs this off season. So he might
Yeah,
get that wish.
that would be insane. And then he would be in the NFC North. Whew, that would be fun.
That
I
would
would tune
be
into I would tune into that right there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk. My name is David. I just got Carlos with me tonight. The dynamic duo is going to be holding down the fort while Scooter is out for this episode. Carlos, we got a lot to dive into. We got some games that we definitely want to talk about, some must wins for a couple of teams here at the halfway point. It's not looking good if they don't get a win this week, so we're going to dive into all of that. We had some trades that happened at the deadline that we want to get into. And then, of course, we have the game day picks of the week. And so to wrap up this episode. But before we get into all of that, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as that is the best way to support us as we grow this NFL season. Carlos, some trades happened this week, man, and I want to get into it. The first trade that I want to get into is actually, I feel like, one of the better trades that did happen this week, and that's Tre'Davious White to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are dead last in the NFL when it comes down to defending the pass. They're averaging about 280 yards given each game. To a secondary that honestly has a lot of talent. I guess they just haven't necessarily, made the pieces gel together. But adding Tre'Davious White, although he's not what he was at Buffalo a few years ago, he still is a reliable guy when he is out there and healthy. So, how do you think? Do you think that this is going to help this team, already really good team, just kind of maybe put them over the hump and help them in that secondary?
Yeah, they're gonna need that help. He's still got some game in him, so he's definitely a big addition. They definitely can. They're all in. So by making this trade, bringing him in, pairing him up with Marlon Humphreys, Kyle Hamilton, those guys are good. The only thing I can think of why the secondary hasn't been as good is, if they're not getting enough pressure on the quarterback, giving them a little bit too much time, or maybe it's just wrong schemes. But the Ravens have been known for getting after the quarterback, and I don't see that as much as they used to. So having a guy that you can put out there on the island will definitely help solidify that secondary because they're going to need it deep in the postseason.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, getting after the quarterback is a huge key for any team. I mean, if you're not getting after the quarter, the what was so successful about when Todd Bowles was actually over the defense and not trying to run the whole team, um, is that the first of all, the blitz packages were insane, but then he had talent up front where they could get after the quarterback with just the front four. So you're not. It's hard to get a coverage sack because if you let the quarterback get anything more than like 6, 7, 8 seconds, I mean it's hard to defend wide receivers for that long. I don't care how good of a cornerback you are, but adding that to their secondary, to the talent that is already there is definitely going to help them out. Speaking of getting to the pass rusher, though, the Detroit Lions, they added to their pass rush, and they got Zadavius Smith. And, dude, what a grab for them. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
now he's not going to replace Hutchinson, not at all, but it does help with that gap that has been missing this, for pretty much the entire year. I think Hutchinson went out week 2 or week 3 of this year, so definitely missed. But adding Smith to that defense, and this is a Detroit Lions team that is already just so freaking
They're
dangerous,
rolling.
man.
They
Yeah,
are
I mean, it's
rolling.
so dangerous. Who would have thought 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that we would have been like, man, the Detroit Lions are dangerous. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
you go back a few years. They trade Stafford for Golf, and you're just like, oh, I got Jared Goff now.
right.
They draft Amon St. Brown. You're like, okay, he's good, but he's a USC receiver. They get
Hmm.
Gibbs. They have they just have these draft classes, and then you got freaking Campbell at the helm, that Mister Intensity. But man, it's good to be a Detroit Lions fan, and nobody can ever tell Zadarius Smith that Christmas doesn't come early, because you just went from being a Cleveland Brown to a Detroit Lion and potential Super Bowl winner. So Christmas does come early for some folks. But it's a big pickup for them. It gives them added depth that they desperately need, and it gives them a good pass rusher. That guy can get after he's done it from his Green Bay days till now, so he gets after it. So that's a solid pickup for them.
And just think about it. Now you get to go up against all of your former, team. Like you get to go against, the Green Bay Packers, which is always so, it's always sweet when you have
Yeah.
success in one place and then you go to another place and you're able to play the team that kind of brought you into the league. But dude, what a pickup! And I mean, yeah, Christmas stuff. You can't tell the city of Detroit that Christmas didn't come early, because picking up
Uh,
that guy right there with what this team is doing, they're they're a force to be reckoned with for sure. I want to stay on the defensive side. This was the last defensive player that got traded, and it's like I like it, but I also know how dangerous it can be. And that's Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. I like it because as a Tampa Bay fan, listen, Mike Evans, as great as a receiver he is, I have to call it like I see it. And Lattimore most of the time had his number. Now, of course, Mike Evans always got Lattimore, usually like once or twice in a season. But for the most part, Mike Evans was usually pretty quiet going up against the Saints. And it's because of Marshawn Lattimore. But now
yeah.
he's with Washington Commanders, which is already a top tier secondary. And now he just adds to that. I mean, I think they're top 5. I want to say I can't
They're
remember
five,
what I
yeah,
saw.
5 or 6 in pass defense. Like
Yeah, they're only giving up
they're solid.
183 yards a game against the pass.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do because they can get after the quarterback. It's a Dan Quinn, defense. I mean, this defense is just really good. They have a young offense that is just blossoming into a very, very. It's like we're seeing the Green Bay Packers 2.0. Just a young team that's
Yeah.
fiery and that is going to be able to make a run into the playoffs. And now you add a cornerback like Marshawn Lattimore to that's already good defense. Dude, NFC East gets put on notice big time, man. The Commanders are not
Yeah.
messing around.
No, and you got a guy that's like the number one. He's a shutdown. He's on the tail end of his career, so they're getting him. They're going to get the most out of him over this year and next year. But now you can draw up blitzes more, because you can have some confidence that Lattimore's whoever he's going against is going to be able to hold his own for a few seconds there. So it opens up a world for that defense that's struggling against the run. So now you can put the extra defender in the box. It just opens up. So yeah, that's another one for the Commanders, man. Nobody had thought at the beginning of the year that 9 games, week 10, hey, your team's going to be 7-2. Nobody would ever bet money that was going to happen. So they need it. I mean, literally, they got a chance to. I mean, 7-2. The offense is looking good. Brian Robinson is down. Hopefully, if he can come back soon. But I mean, Eckler's even looking good. They're just doing. They're not putting up big numbers, but they're doing what they need to do to win.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And the other thing about it is that this division, this division is always so interesting from year to year. I mean, just a few years ago, I remember it was like every week Rich Eisen posted the standings of the NFC East, and it's because they were all under 500, and it was like,
Yep.
you know, don't change the dial yet. We got something going
Yep.
on here, So, and I mean, even going back to the Eli Manning days when didn't the Giants go like 8-9 and make a deep playoff run with
Yeah.
Eli one year? So I mean, this division is always very interesting to watch, but this year Cowboys are not living up to what they paid for this offseason. And now Dak is out for at least 4 weeks with the injury that he sustained last week. The Eagles, I don't trust them. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley is having a great year,
Yeah.
but they were blowing out the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then somehow, some way, it was a game by the end of it, and it's just like, man, I don't trust them. So the Commanders are off to the races in this division. Fantastic what they did this offseason. You're 100% right. No one saw this. Maybe some Washington Commanders fans because they had to root for their team, but I remember this offseason. I got into a war on X with the Washington Commanders. I'm like, who did y'all got? Y'all pretty much like just brought in all the old dudes that
Yeah.
are at the tail end of their career. Outside of a couple of the offensive linemen that they did get. But shout out to the Commanders. Hey, who would have thought that just selling the team would have just brought this organization back to its glory days, and it's a beautiful thing. Now all we need is we just need to bring the name back, and we are back in business. So, but
Yeah. Hopefully that would be nice. Every time you say the Commanders, I'm like,
I
who?
know
I hate it.
I guess it's better than the football team. Like that was
was
hard.
just Snyder being a jerk. You know what? You're gonna take that. I'm just gonna call it the football team.
Yeah, that was him knowing that he was about to get kicked, and he
Yeah,
was
he
like, "Screw
didn't care.
this." So, but let's move to the offensive side of the ball. There were a couple of moves on the offense, and Carlos, me and you were kind of talking offline about it. I don't know how I feel, and I still don't know how I feel about it. And that's Mike Williams to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a part of me that really likes it, but then there's another part of me that's just like, I mean, I liked him going to the Jets, and nothing came from that. So I don't know how I feel about it. I know that the talent with the Jets. I mean, Garrett Wilson, obviously, of course, bringing in Devontae Adams. I mean, the writing was on the wall at that point. But even Alan Lazard, I mean, he had, Rodgers is a guy who is loyal to his guys, and Alan Lazard was someone who he trusted more than anybody out there, especially at the beginning of this year because he was still trying to get on the same page with Garrett Wilson, and Mike Williams just kind of slid to the back burner.
Yeah.
But now he's in an offense where it's George Pickens, and honestly, I don't even know the other guys. So it's like maybe he produces, maybe he can find his home, and do something.
I think he's in a good spot there because he's playing for Tomlin, which has got to be a plus for any player. But they're such a run heavy offense. The play action, him being bigger, Russ seems to be playing pretty well. So, and he's always been an accurate quarterback. Now you got a big target outside of Pickens, and then Van Jefferson's technically your deep threat. But I kind of like it. They're not spending a lot. I mean, they've done what they're not even spending. They're only spending $1 million on Russell Wilson. The only other better contract out there is Baker's. So, I mean, I think it's a good move, and then they get the upgrade with Preston Smith coming over at linebacker, but he's not. I don't think he starts. He's just going to be a good rotational guy. But I like it. They needed it, and I don't think there was a lot out there when it comes to Pittsburgh's never been known to make a lot of real big trades. The Fitzpatrick trade was the Dolphins was one of their big trades, but they're never like that team. They're more of a build within. So I like the move. Can't hurt them.
It definitely doesn't hurt his stock, and I mean, I did pick him up off the waiver wire just because I'm like, you know what, let me just because I need some depth at wide receiver. So I'm like, you know what, maybe he can ride my bench. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. So because I just have, I had Chris Godwin, man, and
That game's going to be fun because you just Marshawn Lattimore will. If there's a corner that knows how to push buttons, it's him. We've seen it with Mike Evans. They're playing the Commanders. He's going to be in, and George Pickens is a guy who doesn't like his buttons pushed, and he likes to push buttons. So we
Yeah.
may have Mike Evans, Lattimore, but Lattimore Pickens some fights this weekend in that game. I didn't think about that till now, so I'm actually looking forward to that game to see if Lattimore is bringing that dog with him up to
Oh, and he will.
Washington. Oh
Oh,
yeah, he
he's
100%.
going
Well, he's
to.
going to let the rookie know who's in town.
Oh yeah. George Pickens isn't a rookie.
No, he's not. He's
Yeah.
2 years in.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there was a couple of other trades. The only other trade that maybe we can touch base on, Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. Again, it's one of those that I don't know how I feel about it. I like it because I liked what he produced in Pittsburgh, but then at the same time, he's going to a team where you have Lamar Jackson, you have Derrick Henry, everyone else gets their fair share of targets. They just spread the ball. They're not loyal to one receiver or target. So how is Deontay Johnson going to fit into this offense?
That's one too. I'm with you. Like, I don't know if it sounds good. You get a possession guy, but I feel like Lamar's kind of like Aaron. He likes he'd be the same guy to eat the same breakfast every morning. And Aaron liked, Lazard, Deontay, his guys. And I think Lamar's that way. He's very comfortable with Andrews, of course, and now Zay Flowers. Bateman has kind of been that guy for him deep. So now you add this other guy in, that chemistry's not there. But Lamar is definitely he's got those guys that he likes. So I don't think he makes an immediate impact. I think he's a good receiver. I guess maybe I don't understand it completely. There's nobody hurt there, and I honestly, for them, I would just run the two receivers and the two tight ends because Isaiah Likely and Andrews. Good luck linebackers covering those guys, or even safeties. Those are two big gentlemen, and they're tough to cover. So I don't get it unless there's something I don't know. But I honestly don't think he's going to make a huge impact with that team. I thought in the beginning he would, but I kind of looking at it, I don't think so.
What it does help is it helps Xavier Leggette's fantasy stuff because I think that is going to help him. Now he's a true number one especially with Adam Thielen, out. So it's just like, hey, Xavier, I've been holding him on my bench this entire year, and I think I might have to put him in the starting lineup here pretty soon.
Whatever gets that guy more press conferences, I'm all for. I'm praying for good games out of him, and then he's talking at the end of every game because it is gold. I love it. I don't understand a word he's saying, but I'm sure it's good.
And I just hope he's the type of guy who just wants to get into the media afterwards, because having him in a booth calling a game would be awesome. I would listen to. I don't even care. I mean, put him on Thursday night because they always have crappy games. So get someone in there, have him do a field report or something like that. I think he would just be so fun.
They got to mic that guy up.
They do.
Mic him up. I got to,
mandatory.
Does the other guy even know he's talking trash to him? He's like, oh no. What did he say?
But I love his personality, man. He's just a super down-to-earth country boy. Nothing. Yeah, 100%. You can tell, the money is not going to get this guy to change one bit. So no. I mean, and that's so he's fun, man. He's one of my favorite rookies this year. Yeah. Just because after, gosh, man, just some of the stuff that the clips that came from him this offseason when he was talking, I just loved every minute of it. There's a few games that we want to get into, but before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple of these injuries because, like I said, Dak Prescott got hurt last week. He's out for a month. That sucks for them.
Big time.
Seriously. How are you? And what is Jerry Jones doing? Because that was another trade that happened where they got Mingo, and it's like, what the heck? What are we doing right now? You paid CeeDee Lamb all this money. He's not producing. You paid Dak all this money. He's not producing. Now you trade for Mingo, and it's like, what the heck? You could have had Derrick Henry. No, I'll take Ezekiel Elliott and James Cook, or not James Cook, but Dalvin Cook. It's like, what's going on with Jerry? Is he okay?
He's
is he Bidening us right now? Like, is he
he
still
is,
Bidening
man.
us right now?
They either got to sell that team and somebody talk to him, but and now Zeke not even playing because he missed
Yeah.
meetings and stuff, and Mingo's not going to do anything. It's he's about as helpful. Maybe I don't want to get too negative on him, but I feel like he's in that Trey Lance conversation. Like, why did you get Trey Lance? He's useless. He's not even beating out Cooper Rush. So why even keep him around to hope that he comes around? Like, if he doesn't come around by now, he's not going to. But that's a big blow to them. Any other hope? But Rush came in last week. I like
Last
that
year he
kid,
did
man.
good. He
Yeah,
did
he
good
comes
last year.
in. He's a gunslinger, but they got so many issues. They just on defense, injuries, just camaraderie, just everything, chemistry. Everything's out of whack for that team.
It's definitely looking like the end of the Packers run with Mike McCarthy. So I think that there's a trend there going
Yeah,
on. I really do. So, but a couple other injuries. Let's stay in the Lone Star State and go to Houston Texans. Nico Collins, big blow for the Texans, man. He's not going to be back as they were hoping that he would be back this week. They lost Stephon Diggs a couple weeks ago. This team, although they are sitting at 6-3 right now, they're facing the Detroit Lions, who are the most dangerous team in the NFL right now. And I feel like a loss this week, they might be on a slippery slope right now, and that's a dangerous slope to be on. This midway point, this is where you want to start seeing your team go up, not down. And right now, the Texans are going down. And the Nico Collins update with him not coming back, man, that sucks.
yeah, and he's and dynamic. I mean, thank God they brought in. I mean, I know Diggs is hurt, but at least they got a little bit longer out of him. But I mean, luckily they're a little deep there. They have. I mean, it's really just a Tank Dell show right now. Robert Woods is old.
Yes.
He's not doing it. And then Mechie, I like Mechie. He's got the good story with the whole was it leukemia that he had, but they need him back desperately, and they don't have the toughest schedule coming up, which helps them. But I almost feel like this is a game they need to win. I mean, they have the Cowboys coming up, but you never know when you have somebody like Cooper Rush playing at quarterback. What are they going to do? Fire him? No, he's solidified. And then they've got the Texans down the road, but that's a tough defense. So you need Nico back, and every fantasy owner that owns him wants him back as well, because when he comes back, he's wide receiver one.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So, um, quick shout out to one of the guys in the fantasy league. It was funny. He changed his name to Nico's in Paris, and then like that same week that he changed the name, he went down, and so now he said Nico's in the tent. So I was just like, that's so. But let's go to an injury that I know a lot of fans are happy about, but as a Tampa Bay fan, I'm not happy because we play his team this week, and it's the 49ers. Now, Kyle Shanahan did say that he's limiting practice for Christian McCaffrey this week because he wants to see how he feels, but he knows that if everything is good, then he'll be good for a full game. And for a defense that normally is really good against the rush, every other year, but this year, now where I think we're ranked almost dead last against it. Oh, gosh dang it, man. I mean, just kick us while we're down, I guess, because this is not this might be a really bad game for us.
I don't know. I mean, my worry with McCaffrey, man, he's out for so long. I don't know. I know it's like the Achilles tendonitis, but you never want to hear that. And both of them. So it's not even just one, it was both. He's had a lot of time. I'm not happy he's back just because I have Jordan Mason as my running back, but man, they got to be careful, because if he tears it, and then he's out for a long time. But you won't know until you put him in there. But it's good. The 49ers, is it probably a position like, yeah, it's good to have him back, but it just seems like they put Mason in there, and he's in the top 10 rushers. So, and then they got the other guy, starts with starts with a G. He gets in there
Oh,
because
the
Mason
rookie
goes down.
from Louisville.
Yeah, he gets in there
Yeah.
when Mason goes down with the shoulder injury, and he's doing well. So I don't know if, I mean, I get it. It's Chris McCaffrey. He can do a lot of different things, but man, they're going to miss Ayuk. They need Debo healthy. That's a
Are they
team
going to
too
miss
that
Ayuk, though?
I think they do. Like,
I mean, because Ayuk wasn't really doing anything.
he wasn't, and it's part of that whole offseason thing that I hate but eventually I think he would have caught up. But the Niners to win, they're gonna need more than just that, and they're kind of in a must-win week. I mean, actually, both teams kind of are in a sense. Like the Bucks really could get as many wins as they can before Evans comes back, because when he comes back, that'll definitely be a game changer for them. But San Francisco desperately needs one because that division's playing well. The Cardinals have won, multiple games straight. The Rams seem to be playing a little bit better. Seattle, like it's a cluttered division. They just really can't afford to fall back anymore. So it'd be interesting to see how everything responds when he hits the field, because that's when you get those big cuts. When he hits the hole and he sees big Vita Vea sitting there, and you got to make a sharp cut real quick, it's going to test that Achilles out real fast.
Yeah, it will. That's a hole that I don't think anybody wants. That's a man that I don't think anybody wants to see at all,
No,
because
I love
Vega is just a mammoth.
I love when he tackles in the sack he had last week. He literally just runs into the guy, the
Oh
quarterback,
yeah,
and
and
the
then he's
quarterback
just like,
goes flying. Not
he's,
even a tackle. It's more of a belly bump, and
he
the
has
quarterback goes
perfected
flying.
the. He's perfected the. I'm gonna get a sack and make sure I don't get a penalty, because there I won't
Yeah,
land on the guy. I'm just gonna belly bump him, and he's gonna go down. So, well, let's get into the games. Let's actually, you know what, that is a game that I want to talk about. I mean, you kind of touched with a couple of key moments there, but it really is a game that both of these teams want to win, right? Tampa, after losing, two games to the Falcons, so they're behind in their division. I think they're 1-2 in their division, while Falcons are 3-0, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Um, Falcons are running away with the South, and it's getting out of hand. So the Bucks, if they want any shot because I don't think, if you're in the NFC South, with how the NFC North is, and you still have to consider the Eagles and the Commanders in the NFC East, when with how close the NFC West is, it's going to be really hard. If you're not the winner of the South, you might not make it into the playoffs, and that's something that would be devastating for this team that got off to such a hot start. I mean, we started 3-1, and then we've lost, I think it's like 5 out of the past 6 games or something crazy like that. So, yeah, it's not been fun. I'm curious to see, though. I think the Bucks have a shot. They're at home. Unfortunately for Tampa Bay fans, we all know that doesn't necessarily mean great home field advantage, just depending on the team that we face. But we're at home. Baker is still Baker. I mean, let's talk about Baker for a second. Can we just give credit where credit is definitely due? Because this guy is down to his 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th practice guy off of the street, wide receiver. And he's still leading the league in touchdowns overall. And he's still one of the top passers. I think he's like 2nd or 3rd in passing yards. And everyone wants to highlight the 9 interceptions, and I get it. A lot of those interceptions have come in the most recent weeks. But yeah, that makes sense, man, because in the most recent weeks, both of his top wide receivers went
Guys
down,
are
and
out.
now he's trying to get on the same page. There's been so many times where he's thrown a ball into a specific place where he believed that his wide receiver was going to be, and they weren't there. So that's just miscommunication. And that just takes time. He has chemistry with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. K. Dotton is stepping up huge, though. The running game, it doesn't matter what defense we're going up against, although Kansas City did pretty much hold us in check last week. For the most part, though, this running game has really started to turn it around in the Liam Cohen offense. So, but the defense is the scariest part. And unfortunately for us, we're going up against Kyle Shanahan, which is probably the offensive guru of the NFL, next to maybe Ben Johnson right now, because Ben Johnson is
Yeah.
insane. But it's a must-win game for both teams. San Francisco's got to win to stay in the hunt for the NFC West. Bucks have to stay and win this to stay in the hunt for the NFC South. Do you see a high-scoring game, defensive game? Like, what are we going to see on Sunday?
No, I see a lot of points. I think both teams are going to put up. The 49ers defense hasn't been like it has been in the past. I mean, I get they still have Fred Warner there, but it's not they're not the same team like they've been. I actually think it's going to be a higher scoring game. And you're right with Baker. He's playing great. When Godwin and Evans were in there, that offense was clicking very, very well at a high rate. And Baker's he's looking like a top end quarterback. There's no disrespect to Cade Otton, but he's making him look like Travis Kelce. And it's that's probably not good for their offense, because he's not Travis Kelce, and he's not able to push the ball down the field where Godwin was able to do that, and Evans. So I think that's what's hurting their offense a little bit on there, and it's not opening up the running backs like it was. They were getting bigger runs in those first 6 weeks, 7 weeks, but I mean he's keeping it together, man. I mean, Cade's doing his thing, but I'm never gonna say Cade Otton is a top 10 tight end, man. I don't think he's that guy. He's looking like it right now. I just over long term yeah. I mean, we were talking. I remember a few weeks ago when Cade was dropping balls. So it's
very fair.
So yeah, I mean, it's good that he's stepping up. They need him. They need the other guys to step up as well for a few more weeks, because Evans is he's 2 to 3 weeks out.
Well, so after this week, they have the bye week, and then that was the original projection, is that he would be back after the bye week. So they had this week. This might be the last game, but I don't know. I mean, I really think it's going to depend.
I think if they're winning,
yeah.
I would say I'm a firm believer he should have never played that game. I get it. He's a gamer.
No.
I get all that stuff. He should have never played that game.
And Chris Godwin shouldn't have gotten hurt.
So I heard somebody talking about that, and you always play to win. So I'm going to send in this video because I'm going to it's basically his words were, if they make that catch that didn't end up being caught, they kick the field goal. Now you're only down 7. You already got an onside kick. What if you get another one? You got a chance for a touchdown. But I wouldn't have done it. I would have taken my starters out, taken my licks, and Chris Godwin would still be playing, which would have been huge for them. And Mike Evans would have sat that game out. Like, that hamstrings are, and he's a guy still running down the field, man. I wouldn't have done it. And I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I want him to play.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was a Buccaneers fan or part of the organization, man, I don't know. But he was having a good game too before he went down.
He was.
It's too bad he didn't catch that touchdown on that.
I know, right? one last points for us.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I think it's a nice high scoring game. If McCaffrey's healthy, he's going to get his catches, his runs. I think it's going to be it'll be a good fun game to watch. I don't see it being like a 17-14 game. I think both teams are over 20. It wouldn't surprise me if one gets over 30. I think it's going to be a little bit of a high scoring game.
Yeah. Another game that I feel like is a must-win game is going to be for the Texans, and I touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking about Nico not returning, but they are facing the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions are seriously the most scariest team right now in the NFL. I would be terrified if I was having to go up against this team, because they are clicking on all cylinders. They've only had one loss. By the way, that one loss did come
to the Buccaneers.
So we will say that.
At home, I get it.
Yeah, and it was in Detroit, man. We got our redemption from last playoff, divisional game. So, but this team is definitely going to be a team to beat moving forward. Now they're going into Texas or they're going into Houston, which is a very hard place to play. I mean, I've heard that that place is very loud. It's the atmosphere is always electric. So I mean, they're going into a hostile environment, but like I said, this Texans team, they're on a slope that is tilting down. And this is not the time of year where you want to do that. So they have to kick it in gear. I still believe in CJ Stroud. I think that he's a great quarterback. He can definitely lead his team. Joe Mixon is a phenomenal. I mean,
He's
he
having
just clicks in
a
that
great year.
offense. It's insane what he's been able to do. So, and I mean, Tank Dell is still a good receiver. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate that he's the only weapon out there right now. Because, like you said, Robert Woods. I mean, he's a good possession guy, but he's not going to make you those big plays.
Nah, he's getting up there. My biggest thing with them is that O line going to hold up against that Detroit front
I don't
four,
know.
man?
That
It's
was what I
not.
was going to get
It
to.
yeah. Stroud might be in for a long day, and if Detroit has a game against the Texans in what they did to Tennessee, which in a lot of states is a felony, if they go in there and do that to the Texans, man, that could set them back a little bit, because I'm telling you what, the whooping that they put on the Titans was not good. It was
Yeah,
brutal. That was
it was
definitely
brutal.
big brother smashing little brother with authority, and I kind of see that happening again. I think
Mm.
Detroit is just, man, riding high. Smith coming in for his first game. He wants to make a good impression. He's on AstroTurf. CJ had a little bit of a rough outing against the Jets. Like they got to him a little bit, and we're talking about a better defense that's playing much better than the Jets are gelling. Man, I think the Texans are in for a long day for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty rough day for. But I mean, I would honestly say this right now against anyone who's going up against Detroit. They are just clicking on all cylinders. Dan Campbell has those guys rolling, and the chemistry is there. Ben Johnson is an absolute genius. I mean, God, he came out and he stated this week that he's going to be very particular about a head coaching job, probably because of how well he has it there in Detroit. So I can understand. But my goodness, man, if Tampa could get him, that would be awesome to see him do what he could do with Baker Mayfield in this offense. Would be so much fun to watch. But
So I saw an interview with him, or read that his first choice is the Chicago Bears. He would have
that would
Caleb.
be
He likes Caleb. They've got a set of receivers. I mean, we haven't seen it all put together yet, but Dunze's been having a nice year. DJ Moore still is DJ Moore, and Keenan. They don't need old Keenan. They just need Keenan there to mature Dunze and do what when guys are on the tail end of their career. But he said this past season that was the job that he wanted, and it might be up for grabs this off season. So he might
yeah,
get that wish.
that would be insane. And then he would be in the NFC North. Whew, that would be fun.
That
I
would
would tune
be
into that right there. But the Detroit Lions are a dangerous team. Texans, hopefully they can turn it around this week. Yeah, man, it's gonna be rough, man. It's just so rough. The Detroit Lions are just so good. They're just so good, so good. So, but enough about the Detroit Lions. I'm sounding like Chris Collinsworth when he talks about Patrick Mahomes. So let's move on. Let's go to a game that I'm just really excited to watch. Both of these teams are good teams. They've both been winning. They're clicking, it seems like, and they're just fun to watch. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers and Washington Commanders. Two teams that when we saw this on the calendar at week 10, we were like, this is a nothing game. Yeah, well, now it's a something game.
it's
And
a
I
big
mean,
game.
both teams are still wanting to continue to prove themselves. That they are contenders this year. And I really like both teams, man. And I've been trying. I know we're going to get to our picks here in a little bit, but I don't know what to make of this game. I really don't. Because Commanders have. I was worried about what I saw when they went up against the Bears because the Bears' defense is pretty good, and they were able to kind of hold that electric offense with Jaden Daniels in check. Pittsburgh Steelers' defense is pretty decent as well, and and they can get after the quarterback with T.J. Watt. And then for somehow, some way, it doesn't matter what quarterback you put back there, but this offense is moving pretty good as well. And Najee Harris is having a great year. So it should be. I'm just really excited to just watch this game and just enjoy it, knowing that I have no stake in it.
Yeah.
But it should be a fun game to watch.
Well, it's an interesting matchup because the Steelers run the ball very well. The Commanders don't defend the run very well. Pittsburgh is definitely an all-around defense, and they can defend. They do pretty well on both. But with Brian Robinson not playing, I feel like Pittsburgh almost has the advantage here because they do defend the pass pretty decent. So they're going to lean on that. But you have Jaden Daniels, who's just has no fear, and Washington's not lost at home, so they're undefeated at home. It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, Daniels in this game, but he's played other teams that are good defenses as well, and he shows up, man. He figures it out, man. He makes the big play when it needs to be made, and yeah, but I think. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm curious more on the Pittsburgh side, like how Russell Wilson, he gets Mike Williams, and he had a good first week when he came out, but that Commanders secondary is a lot better now with Lattimore in there. And they were already good already. And now he gets Mike Williams. It's a little early to get that chemistry down. So I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think Tomlin is going to figure out how does this play my advantage, and I think the lower the score, the better off it is for Pittsburgh. I could see if I'm Tomlin, how do I get the young quarterback to make a mistake, and it's a low scoring game, and he wants to make a dynamic play? How do I get him in that situation to make a throw he shouldn't want to, or take off when he probably shouldn't? Maybe holding that ball like a loaf of bread and getting some turnovers. So it's going to be very interesting how that game pans out. But I got it as a low scoring game.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be a pretty low scoring game. And I do like what you were saying and I think that's what Mike Tomlin is going to do. I mean, Mike Tomlin against rookie quarterbacks, he always finds a way to just, hey, let's give this guy just a little bit extra pressure because let him want to make those plays that every rookie quarterback wants to do. Put that pressure on him, put the game on his shoulders, and let's see what he can do. And if he beats us, he beats us. But I trust my defense more than I trust this rookie quarterback. So should be a very fun game to watch. I am definitely going to be tuning in. Yeah, I mean, dude, I just got NFL Plus. Like, I subscribed to it because I was just like, why not? Dude, I've never watched Red Zone before up until this last Sunday, and I've never had a more enjoyable time watching football games on my phone. Like, I was just like, this is awesome. like, holy crap, man, this is great. So definitely going to be tuning in this weekend to watch that. So, but Carlos, I think that brings us to that time of the episode. You know what time it is. The Beardzone Game Day Picks of the Week. That is right. Rapid fire here. We do have Scooter's picks, although he is not here with us. Play along with us. Our records are down below. We'll shout out Scooter right over here. That's his record. And if I'm not mistaken, Carlos, I think you're in the league right now. So holding strong to that lead. But let's get into it. Let's start it out. Although, when we are recording this, the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals are playing currently. When you are listening to this, the game will already be decided. Right now, it is 7-7. Just started the second quarter. Who you got?
I'm taking the Ravens. I had that penciled in a few days ago. Lamar's just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah. I have the Ravens as well, and so does Scooter. I wish, because I'm a Joe Burrow fan, but man, it's just not been a good year for them this year. But it is a must-win game, so for the Cincinnati fans, hopefully. Let's move on to the next game. I mean, really, who cares? New York Giants, Carolina Panthers. Who you got?
Going with Danny Dimes here. Neighbors is back. Like going Giants.
Yeah, so Scooter is going Giants, and I am going to be the lone wolf. I got the Panthers on this one, man. I don't know, something. I just don't like the Giants, and I don't trust them. So, and as much as I would like, Malik Neighbors to have a great week because he is on my fantasy team, I also have Xavier Legette. So, I mean, hey, just have great games, you two. That's all I ask for. Patriots at Patriots at the Chicago Bears. Who do you got?
Going with Caleb. They're gonna rebound this week and get the victory.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Caleb Williams and the Bears, and so is Scooter. Scooter picking Caleb Williams. Whoa,
That is, woof.
that's scary to even think about right there.
He didn't like that.
Yeah, no, he probably didn't like that. Buffalo Bills, Indianapolis Colts. Who you got?
Man, unfortunately, I gotta go with the Bills. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills, and so is Scooter. But maybe Joe Flacco. Maybe he can pull off some magic. We don't know. We shall see. Buffalo has been scarce against the rushing, so maybe they lean on Jonathan Taylor a little bit. He's having a good year. We have the Minnesota Vikings and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who you rolling with?
Is this played in the United States of America? Because if it's overseas, I may take Jacksonville, but I don't think they're playing in Germany yet. So I think this is. I'm pretty sure this is at home in the.
Yeah, it is at home. It's a 1:00 game in Jacksonville.
Oh well, it's at home in Jacksonville. I mean, of course, you take not Jacksonville.
You don't take Jacksonville, and you go with the Minnesota Vikings, and that is what we are all going with this week. We don't have a whole lot of hope in Jacksonville. This is a game that I'm actually a little bit curious to see about as well. But we have the Denver Broncos going into the Kansas City Chiefs. Denver Broncos, their defense has been phenomenal against the pass. Bo Nix has shown great just growth and everything. Perfect quarterback for the kind of coach that Sean Payton is. But you do have the Chiefs. They are at home. I believe that there will be refs there at the game, so they have that in their advantage.
They bring their own.
Yeah.
I had the Chiefs winning this. So I think the Chiefs defense is going to be too much for the Broncos offense.
Yeah, we're all we are all picking the Chiefs as much as I don't want to. You know what?
Do it.
Do I be the lone wolf?
It's only for a record at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. So, all right, Falcons, Saints. Who you got?
Dirty Birds. I think they just keep rolling.
Yep, I am going to go with the Falcons as well, and I don't see that here for Scooter on his picks, but I'm going to say that he's going to pick the Falcons. So there you go, Scooter. I just gave that to you. And Bucks San Francisco, high scoring game as you predicted, Carlos. What are we going to see? Is Tampa one of these teams? Have got to get to their fifth game in that win column this week.
Man, I honestly don't. This is one of the harder ones for me. I'm gonna go with the Bucks, man. I think they what they showed me last week was enough. A lot of grit there. I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
I'm going to go with Tampa as well, and so is Scooter. Yeah, I liked what they showed because I was honestly expecting a bloodbath last Monday
Yeah,
night, and it didn't happen. Um, they showed a lot of grit. They showed a lot of character. They buy into Baker Mayfield, and that's all you really need. If you have a
yeah.
quarterback that you buy into, it doesn't matter what's going on with the team, you have a shot. Steelers Commanders. What's your final prediction on this one?
I think Steelers handling their first home loss. I'm going with Tomlin. I think he'll game plan this the right way.
I am going to go with the experience as well with Mike Tomlin, and Scooter is going to be the lone wolf with
Yes.
picking the Commanders. He's just picking the Commanders, though, because he picked Caleb Williams, and now he has to pick Jaden Daniels. So
Yeah, he can't go
I think
against his
that's.
guy.
You can't fool us, Scooter. We know your tricks. We have Tennessee Titans and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers. I don't even think that this is a thought. Tennessee, joke. Will Levis, joke. Great at selling mayonnaise though. He made me buy some. But other than that, not a guy who is going to get you wins. Throwing the football. So Cardinals, Jets. Cardinals are hot. I was not expecting their performance. 30 seconds. Defense for Cardinals better than I even anticipated and thought, and they showed me something last week against the Bears.
I'm not going to pick them. I'm going with the Jets. I think there's going to be a start of a build up with them. I slowly see this team coming together enough, and they really need this win. And one more week with Devontae, I see the Jets pulling this one off.
You are going to be the lone wolf, my friend, as both me and Scooter are taking the Cardinals. I've bought the Jets too many times this year. I'm selling them. I'm selling them right now to try and get something back. Dallas Eagles.
I low key that this could be
Is
an
this a
upset here.
thought?
Yeah, a little bit. I just see Cooper Rush coming back. He's doing his thing, nothing to lose. But as a betting man, I'm going to take the Eagles.
Okay, you had me there in the first half. I'm going to go with the Eagles as well, and so is Scooter. I'm dying over here.
I'd
But
punch you
we
in the
are
throat if
almost
you're
done.
closer.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You're a true friend. Lions, Texans. Who we got?
Oh man, Lions here. I just did. They're yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions as well, and so is Scooter. And then we're going to wrap up the week with the Dolphins at the Rams. Who do we have?
Ramsey going back. Odell's going back. The
I didn't even
Dolphins
think about
desperately
that.
need a week. Tua's knocking the rust off. Hope they were out 3 defensive starters last week. Hopefully they're back. I got to go with my guys. I'm going with the Fins on the road.
You are going to be Carlos with 2 lone wolf picks this week. I love it, but both me and Scooter like the Rams this week. Cooper Cup back. Puka,
Nakua.
although he punched someone last week. I mean, you just don't mess with Samoans, man. They'll get you.
Hey, he only cost me my fantasy week, so it's okay by
I
punching
mean,
somebody
fair
and
enough.
getting ejected.
He cost me too, so trust me, I feel the pain. But I do have the Rams winning this one. I like what they've been doing over the past couple weeks. Although
They lost White.
Dolphins
I
have
see
been
this
pretty
being a
good.
very high scoring game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Should be a Monday night to remember and for the books. But let us know who you guys have this week. Again, shout out your records if you're keeping track. Play along with us. Come on. Join the crowd. Join the crowd. Don't you want to rub it in our faces of how wrong we are. But do us a favor, follow us on all of our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and we are on X. So definitely give us a follow there. We're trying to build a little bit of momentum with those social media platforms. hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to turn on that notification bell because you do not want to miss any episodes this NFL season. And if you are a college fan, be sure to check out our Wednesday episodes as we cover everything college sports. This past week, college football playoff, the first little bracket came out. Lot to talk about. We talk about it on the Wednesday episode. So be sure to go and check that video out. But every Friday, every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will find us covering everything college and NFL. And until next week, Carlos, you want to do it this time?
I cannot take Scooter's outro, but I can still wrong Burgundy. And you guys stay classy out there.
Love it.